Hello. I was currently watching this video by a YouTuber called Hey Peter. Like, Hey Peter. And the video in question the title is The Most Esoteric Video Game Ever Made, Drowned God, Conspiracy of the Ages. I was absolutely enthralled by it. I'm 32 minutes in, and somehow the guy who made the video made it 5 hours and 18 minutes. And it is such an engaging watch that, I could see myself watching the entire 5 hours and 18 minutes in 53 seconds, not gonna lie. But enough about that. I suppose we should get into the day. So let's do it. So the day started out where I was in my room sleeping, and I got up at around I think 10:30, something like that, and used the restroom, went to the kitchen, made some coffee, ate some honey bunches of oat cereal, and I noticed my mom was watching this really interesting documentary. It looked to be like a very artistic and silent documentary with some narration here and there, so I guess not completely silent. And it looks like it was taking a look at Russia, and specifically Russian people and religion in cold environments. It was a very artistically presented film. It was like a film that's currently for free on YouTube right now, so I guess she was checking that out. And apparently it inspired her to write a song based on the resilience of the Russian people. And I found this out because after I was done eating the food and then going in the den to check on my mom, she told me she wrote a song, but she wanted to use Google's music generator to make the song into a song you could listen to. So she put the whole thing together, and for some reason Google was giving her a hard time. We actually were able to get the song to be generated once, and we listened to it together, and we thought it was pretty interesting, but there was the cathedral word was missaid, but then for some reason when she clicked away and wanted to click back into the song, it was just gone. There was no way to select it anymore, which that's the first time that's ever happened to me, or to anyone I know who's used this program, so very strange. And so she just continued generating. I kept on getting hit with blocks. Apparently Google said that there's some religious themed things in the song that that set up triggers. So she tried to get the song rewritten so it wouldn't mention those things and still be generated, and eventually she did get something similar, but it wasn't as good as the original song that was generated that we couldn't get access to, which was annoying. So yeah, eventually I she turned on this a UFO News Nation video that we were checking out. It's basically just a bunch of talking heads talking about how there's some interesting pictures here of NASA and these triangular looking objects off in the horizon, and things like that. But overall, nothing that was too interesting. Then there was like a Neuralink video that I was checking out, and it was basically like this guy who has like ALS and has lost his ability to talk, and he got Neuralink implanted in his head, and he was able to speak with his mind. So that was pretty trippy. Apparently, technically, like he was speaking with like moving his like mouth muscles in a way that the computer could understand was what he was trying to say. So it was a pretty interesting video for sure. Then, after that, I needed to take a shower. Oh, as I was watching the Neuralink video, my mom made a delicious beef and rice burrito, and I was eating that. Some of it accidentally fell on the couch and had to wipe that with a napkin. Anyways, after I was done watching the Neuralink video, I went to I took a shower. After I was done, put on deodorant, moisture cream, my work clothes. I remember I was trying to like fit into older clothes, but the clothes was a little tight, so I had to fit back into specifically pants. So I had to fit back into a bigger set of pants. So clearly, I'm starting to get a little on the big side, and I'm starting to think about taking my weight loss journey, again, take it seriously. So, yeah, after that whole showering and getting ready, I was constantly called in by my sister, who let me know my mom was trying to talk to me. So I went over, and my mom told me about this idea of like she came up with for the pool, and I was like, oh, that sounds interesting. I hope you have a good way of designing that. Then I went back into my room, finished getting dressed, and then I went in the back. I grabbed a Lipton iced tea peach, and then I said goodbye to my mom and sister. I told them I love them, and then I went in my car. I drove off to work. When I arrived, I remember punching in, and it was a pretty okay day. I saw a coworker that I hadn't seen in a whole lot. I said hello, and they were kind of giving me, polite responses, but they weren't really. It was clear they wanted to get, out. They reached the end of their day and they were ready to leave. So I was like, oh, that's fine. But then there was another coworker that was about to leave, who we used to, have all kinds of fun conversations and chats and do little bits here and there. We were able to do a little bit today where, like the coworker was pretending that they were a robot, and they said that the other coworker that was working near us was also a robot, and so it's like, oh my gosh, they're making you so realistic. Or like, I know, I'm the latest model. And then the other one was like, yeah, I need to get my firmware updated. Starting to get a little glitchy. I was like, oh my goodness. So that was pretty funny. I enjoyed that. Just like old times. And then I went into I went to the produce. I sweeped produce. I sweeped the break room. I sweeped the store floor. Then I asked for my break after doing that for like a good 2 hours and punching my sweeps in on time. And I was given that break. And so I took that time because earlier in the day, I forgot to mention this, I asked my mom, my sister, and our family friend if they were willing to split sodas with me, because they were currently having a deal in my store where if you get 4, you get them each for $5. And they all agreed. So I got the sodas. At bottom, I brought them upstairs so they wouldn't be messed up by the heat outside. The room temperature would keep them good. And then I went downstairs and continued my sweeping duties where I took out the trash. I brought in extra bags, and then I punched out for lunch where I went upstairs. I had a sandwich, the fourth slice of the sandwich. There's one more slice left, with mustard and mayonnaise and chips and the Lipton iced tea. And yeah, while I was eating that, I was watching a video about like what an AGI takeover would look like, and it was pretty bleak. It was basically like people wanting to make as much money as possible through any means necessary, and then the AI self-improves over and over again until it gets too smart and out of control for humans to, control. And it gets to the point where they're unable to, take the AI out, so the AI sees humans as an inconvenience and ultimately uses the humans for as long as it needs to have more, data farms be made before eventually humanoid robots are perfected and humans no longer need to be like around to maintain them anymore. So eventually all the humans go and like the robots completely take over. So that was the video. It's pretty spooky, very scary. Went downstairs, punched back in, and then I remember I was wiping all the check stands down. My coworker was clearing a lot and brought in the carts, which I very much appreciated. I would help bag. I did go backs. I swept the floors. I closed the produce blinds. Had an interesting conversation with two of my coworkers. It was very sad hearing that one of them was having difficulty getting their portfolio accepted by different studios. So they were thinking about doing work elsewhere. So yeah, that was pretty sad to hear. But they did mention going to the gym, and I'm like, ooh, sounds like something I probably should start thinking about. And then after that, I realized check stand 4 had no bags, so I went back in the back. I threw out the remaining trash that was in the back. I got a stack of bags, so I went up to the front. I put the bags in there, and I wiped down check stand 4. I punched out. I brought my sodas, or my family sodas, and the back with me with the receipt. I showed my co-manager, and then they were saying that I was starting to get a little plumpy, so it's like, oh, just another sign to start shifting gears towards being more healthy. I said I'll start doing that at the first of next month, and then when we arrived out, we both walked out, and then I went to my car. I put my family's sodas in the car, and I drove home. When I arrived home, I brought the sodas in the fridge. I got a 7-Up zero sugar tropical version, and the last of the chips, avocado chips, and I sat down and was watching this video. Hold on one sec. Trying to remember. Oh yeah, when an actor completely broke Disney, and it was basically Robin Williams doing a bunch of very goofy impressions that threw the Disney animators for the loop, and so they had to figure out how to work with that. And then I watched this Trevor Paglin classified military patches book, where it was basically a guy going through different military patches and their meaning, and that was very interesting. And then I finally got around to the most esoteric video game ever made. What caught my eye was the insane length of it. It was like 5 hours, 18 minutes, and 53 seconds long. What is this, a long playthrough of this? Like, I mean, on one hand, that sounds like a really interesting title. But on the other hand, it has to be really good for me to want to stick through those 5 hours. And I was watching the video, it was basically like a mini documentary about the creator of the game and his long storied past and how he got to designing the game that is being talked about in the video. And it was so well done and so interesting that I honestly won't mind seeing the rest of it. It was that good. And while I was watching it, I finished the chips. I decided to get popsicle. I had that. It's pretty good. And then I had 1.5 tater tots. Or not tater tots. They were hash brown, square thing. I forget what you call it. And then finally, I realized it was getting pretty late. I decided to watch my previous video, and that got me on a really long, self-reflective kind of thing where I was watching a bunch of my other previous videos and kind of self-reflecting on, that's why I looked like at that point in time, or that's why I said that point in time. Interesting. And I was like, it's getting late. Like, the time is currently 1:45. I'm getting really tired. I better, and the time right now is 1:45. At the time I decided to record this, the time was like around 1:30, and I was like, it's getting late. I better record my video. So here it is. Gotta keep that streak going. And I think I'm gonna just get ready for bed now and go to sleep. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.